Number 12, we're asked to graph and analyze this function. And it tells us to describe the domain, range, intercepts, end behavior, continuity, and where the function is increasing or decreasing. All right. So let's start by punching this into the calculator and sketching the graph here. So it's going to be, the graph is going to look something like this. So let's talk first about the domain and range. The domain is going to be all the possible x values. So notice here that there's nothing really limiting what our x can be, because this is a cube root. And so remember, it doesn't matter if you have a negative under a cube root. It's still going to be a real number. And even if this were a square root, this is squared, so there's no way to get a negative under the square root sign anyway. So there's nothing limiting what x can be, and you can see that on the graph that it looks like it's covering all real numbers from negative infinity to positive infinity. And that's what our domain is going to be. We're going to write this in interval notation from negative infinity to positive infinity. Now the range, notice that there's no way for this to be positive, because we're going to square this. That's always going to give us a positive number here. And then we're going to make it negative, so everything is going to be negative. And you can see that from the graph. There's no values above the x-axis. So the range is going to be from negative infinity to 0, and we'll put a bracket there to show that it can be 0. All right, next we're going to find the intercept. So let's find where that 0 is. That'll be our x-intercept. So the x-intercept, we're going to set this equal to 0. So we get 0 equals negative cube root of 2x plus 5 squared. So let's solve for x. And since this is equal to 0, solving for x is going to be a lot easier than this looks, because we can get rid of that negative by multiplying both sides by negative 1. Negative 1 times 0 is 0, and negative 1 times that is just positive that. Now let's cube both sides. Cubing both sides gets rid of this on this side, and 0 cubed is still 0. And then let's take the square root of both sides. Well, we can get rid of this squared on this side. Square root of 0, still 0. All right, so now we can just subtract 5 from both sides. We get negative 5 is equal to 2x. Divide by 2. So we get x is equal to negative 5 halves. And that's our x-intercept. Now to find the y-intercept, let's plug in 0 for x. So f of x is going to be equal to, if we plug in 0 here, that makes that 0, so this is just 5. Squared is 25. And the cube root of that is going to be a little bit less than 3, because the cube root of 27 would be exactly 3. So the cube root of 25 would be a little less than 3, and it's negative. Let's just write this as negative cube root of 25. And that'll suffice for our y-intercept. Next, we're trying to find the end behavior. So notice that as x goes to infinity, toward positive infinity, y is going toward negative infinity. And as x goes toward negative infinity, again, y is going toward negative infinity. So the way that we're going to write that is the limit as x approaches negative infinity of f of x is equal to negative infinity. And the limit as x approaches positive infinity of f of x is equal to positive infinity. All right. That's in behavior. Continuity. Remember, continuity, kind of the the simple description of continuity that we gave is, can I draw this without picking my pencil up off the paper? And here you can see if we start out here, we can draw this and come up to here and then keep going. There's never a point where we have to pick our pencil up off the paper. So this is continuous everywhere. So it's continuous everywhere. And then we want to know where it is increasing and where it is decreasing. Well, it increases up to this point. It decreases up to this point. So it's increasing on the interval from negative infinity to that point, which we said was negative 5/2. And it's decreasing from that point, negative 5/2, on to positive infinity. And that's it. It's a lot, I know. But just work through every one of these. Make sure on this question that you answer all the different things that it's asking you to do.